Good evening and welcome to Parent Connection. We are so excited to be with you tonight. For those of you who haven't heard the buzz, Parent Connection is a new parent engagement group, an exciting collaboration between Parent University and our own Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Jill Baker. Each month, Dr. Baker will engage parents and members of our community and lead a dialogue of current district issues with a focus on the Learning Acceleration and Support Plan, as well as communications and community engagement. In addition, each monthly meeting will feature an informational parent education workshop. Tonight, we'll hear from LBUSD Superintendent, Dr. Jill Baker, and our new Chief Communications and Community Engagement Officer, Justin Grayson. But first, we have two other presentations. Rebecca Fast from Parent University will share a snapshot of our new and very exciting Parent University Canvas page. And she'll also share some information about Peach Jar, a new digital flyer management system that the district is using now. Then Benitha Chandra Sekar from the Office of Research and School Improvement will share some important details and updates about the iReady test. If you have questions or comments, please add them to the Google form, which is accessible by the link underneath the YouTube video frame. Now let's welcome Rebecca Fast.
Hi, thank you, Alyssa, and thank you. I'm so honored to be here tonight as part of Parent Connection, representing Team Parent University. I feel so fortunate to work as a parent in this district and a teacher in this district to combine my two passions in helping parents navigate their way through Long Beach Unified and work all towards the success of all of our students. So I'm very excited right now I'm going to share my screen for a moment and share with you what's happening with Parent University, some of the things that we have happening. So I'm taking you right now, I'm sharing my screen. This is our Long Beach Unified webpage. This is our homepage at lbschools.net. So at lbschools.net, there's lots of tools and lots of resources right here on our homepage. A few are here at the top. We have a really active social media accounts. We have a Twitter page, a Facebook. All of our videos are archived here on our YouTube page, and you can always find our videos of past workshops, Board of Education meetings, podcasts, all sorts of our great social media information is right here on our YouTube page. It's a great way to access it here. Our Instagram page, and I'm going to take you on our podcast. I'm going to take you here to this peach tree, or our peach jar. Peach jar is, I'm going to click on it. It's back when my kids were little, they used to come home with lots of flyers in their backpacks, lots of flyers from community partners, whether it be about the YMCA or about cheerleading and everything in between. This is a great way to find if you've seen an email that came from your school about a certain topic and you don't remember where it went or you didn't archive it in your emails, you can access all of the flyers that have been sent home since the beginning of the school year here. So everything on, some free COVID vaccines here, to arts programs, to Long Beach Youth Choir, the Long Beach Transit. A lot of the flyers are right here. And again, you can access that in the Long Beach Unified homepage right here in the Peach Jar buttons. So those are some of the buttons at the top. As a member of Parent University, I'm going to take you to our button. We have a button right here on the homepage, and you can access Parent University there. And when you get to our site, we'll always have the calendar here. So the calendar is always here with updates and information. And if you click on it, for example, if you click on the High School Choice Fair, it's going to just give you a little information in the map that's about the High School Choice Fair. The links to meetings are always found here. At the top, you can find information about parent groups, but new and improved, we've just added and updated our site with that little button. So I'm going to do that one more time. If you click on this button right here, it's going to take you to our new site that we've been working on. At the top, you will find a collection of parent resources. What our Parent University team has done is we've pulled websites and links from all over our district page, from our community pages, and we've tried to bring them all together into one site and one easily accessible place for our parents. And so you can find here, I'm going to click on community resources. There's been a lot of information going out about job opportunities, both within Long Beach Unified and in our city. And so if you click here, you can find the job opportunities that we have here in our city. If you come back, there's more information about continuing education, our Long Beach School for Adults. We even have a video on here that we did at the beginning of the year with our School for Adults. And so there's information there. We've collected information on technology support. If you're having troubles or you want to learn more about Canvas or School Messenger or Parent View, all of the resources are there. You can always find videos of parent workshops. So say you missed the meeting last week and you want to know more about high school choice or the focus on wellness, all of our videos are collected here on our playlist. And so that's at the top. In the middle, you can find some parent group updates. We have a lot of parent groups. We have a lot of organizations that are helping to inform our parents. All of those buttons are here. I'm going to click on a couple just to show you what you might find on those buttons. And our Coalition of Involved African American Parents button, you will find some contact information if you want to learn more, a description at the top of who they are, when they meet. They have a lovely moment here in Black History where you can get some information and some learning. And then they will always be updating this with future meetings. And so they have had a meeting on October 19th. The Zoom link is here. They have an upcoming meeting, and you'll be able to find all of the Zoom links here. So it's just a collection, a place for parents to get their information and find information about upcoming meetings. And then if you continue to scroll, you'll find, again, the Zoom links, the video links, and at the bottom is how to contact us. If there is something here that you had a question about, please feel free to email or call us. Or if you can't find something, we're really here just to help you navigate and help you find the answer. If it's not on our page, we will direct you to where you can find the answer, to who you can call. So we're just a team that is here to help our families navigate our website and navigate through our systems. So that's a little bit about our updated Parent University website. If you have questions throughout tonight, right underneath our YouTube video here, you can submit a question via a Google form, and we will either get back to you on air tonight, or if you leave your contact information, we will be happy to call you or email you tomorrow or later this week. We're happy to answer your questions tonight. My piece is done. I'm going to stop sharing here, and I'm going to pass it over to representative from our Office of Research, Ms. Vinitha Chandrasekhar. So Vinitha, it's all you. And don't forget to unmute, Vinitha.
Thank you. Yes, I was trying to be polite and not chat over you. Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. It is my pleasure to be here today with all of you. I'm Vinitha Chandrasekhar. I'm from the Office of the Research and School Improvement, and I'm excited to be here with you today sharing about iReady. And if your children have been in school in one of our school districts, schools, you probably have heard about iReady. They probably came home and said, I took iReady reading test, or I took an iReady math test. And you're probably wondering, what is iReady? What was the test? So I appreciate being invited to this Parent Connection meeting so that we can share some of the information with you. And it's no longer a mystery. So I'm Vinitha Chandrasekhar from Research and School Improvement, and along with me is also Kevin Chilito, and he'll be kind of providing some information also. So the iReady is basically a reading and math diagnostic. And the question has been, it's like, what is the purpose of iReady and how is it helping our students? We know for the last several months, our students have been in various situations attending school, and some students did a great job and they thrived with this, but there were a lot of our students who really struggled with being online, missing the connections, and not being able to kind of commit to the full academic rigor of our schools. So as a district, it was decided that we needed to see where our students were, do a K-12 diagnostic to see where they were in reading and in math, so that we could support our students if they needed support, or provide them enrichment if they needed to. The iReady diagnostic is a K-12 diagnostic, and it gives us longitudinal data. So this is our first year of implementing it. It'll be given 3 times. October was our first month, and I'll show you the schedule. It'll be 2 more times. It basically assesses the reading and math skills of our students and places them based on their performance. The question a lot of parents have asked is, how can I prepare my student? How can I prepare them? What are the questions? What kinds of things are they being tested on? It is a computer adaptive, and it's not like you can prepare. It's basically seeing where they are. The computer adaptive basically means that they get questions that they may be familiar with, they may know it, or they may also get questions that they have never learned before, and that is perfectly fine. It's not about a scaled score. It's not about a grade. It's not about this is where you are. It's more about seeing what skills do they have and what areas can they be supported with. It has various item types. And at the end of this, it gives detailed reports to the teacher so that they can action it. The great thing about the iReady diagnostic is it's got immediate information about the students, and it provides teachers with resources to be able to support the students in their class. The skills that are assessed in reading are phonological awareness, phonics, and high-frequency words. And we know that these are foundational skills for our students as they focus on comprehension. The other skills that are also assessed are vocabulary, comprehension of literature, and comprehension of informational text. And one of the things is that if the students test well, for the students in the upper grades, if they test well, if they kind of get their responses well in vocabulary or comprehension, they don't get the questions. They don't see the questions for phonological awareness, phonics, or high-frequency words. For math, there are 4 areas that they are tested in: number and operations, algebra and algebraic thinking, measurement and data, and geometry. And geometry is not, when you think about geometry, we think about high school level geometry. But this basically focuses on some of the geometrical thinking behind shapes and angles. So those are some of the things that are tested at the lower grades. And they are, again, looking at what are the skills the students need to have at that particular grade level. For math, the foundational skills are numbers and operations, algebra, and algebraic thinking. So it's basically, if the student responds correctly to a question, the next item might be a level higher. So the student may not have seen the question or seen the content before, but it is perfectly fine, because then it kind of lets the students know if they are ready to kind of move on. Again, there is no grade associated with it. It's more to see where are the students, what are their strengths, what are the areas that they would need additional support. And this information is provided immediately to the students. So what does computer adaptive mean? I've kind of touched on it briefly. Each test is different, so we really don't know what the questions are and may include material that has not been taught. Every student receives a challenging test, and it adjusts to the individual student and identifies their strengths, opportunities for growth, and provides strategies for accelerated learning. And it provides needed data to the teachers. And you will also, as parents, you will also have information on how you can support your child. I mentioned earlier that the diagnostic was going to be given 3 times a year. The first diagnostic window was in October, and we're just in the process of closing that out. And only students in grades 1 through 12 were given this diagnostic. The reason being, It's the first time that the kindergarten students were coming into the school, and we needed to kind of give them a chance to adapt to being in school and using some of the devices because it is a Chromebook computer-based diagnostic. The second diagnostic window will be January 31st to February 28th. And at this time, and it'll be all grades K to 12. And at this time, the intent is to see what kind of growth have the students made. Again, no grades are given. It's more about seeing where the students are and what kinds of supports helped and what further supports they may need. The third diagnostic, which is the last one for this year, will be May 2nd to June 10th. And this schedule is a little more extended, and this is to accommodate students in our high schools who would be taking the AP exams, and they'll have the additional window to be able to take the diagnostic at the end. And this will be grades K to 12. These are the three diagnostic windows for this year. And again, we'll have different diagnostic windows for next year. On November 15th, you will be able to view the report for your child in reading and in math. You'll have both of these reports accessible to you. It'll tell you this is just like a screenshot of a sample report, but it'll tell you exactly where your child was, what their scale score was, what their overall performance in the domains in the skills area was for reading and for math. And there'll be more detailed information on how you can support, what are the areas that you can support your child. All of this will be available November 15th in Parent View. So if you log in and you look at your child's name, the information will be there. And you can also reach out to your teachers if you need support in understanding what these reports say. But this is basically a sample of the report that'll be coming. So the question is, once you get the report, now what? There are different ways that you can help your student. You can explain to them how working hard on the iReady will help the teachers figure out what they need, what supports they need, what enrichments they may need. And it'll focus on exactly what a diagnostic gives us, the information that the diagnostic gives us. You can encourage your child. You can ask them to take each question, each lesson and quiz seriously. And again, sometimes the students just want to click, 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 but maybe having them stop and think about it. Or they may be overachievers and want to spend a lot of time in getting it right. But they need to understand that some of the questions, they may have never covered the content, and it's perfectly fine because it gives a teacher a good picture of what they know and which areas they might need more support in. So it's perfectly fine if they don't if they don't know the answers, they can make an educated guess and move on. Once you get the reports, it's wonderful to celebrate. We all need to celebrate because there's a lot that's been going on and we need to kind of celebrate with our children. I always say that this is the time that we need to kind of have grace for what we've gone through and where we need to go. So celebrating is a great way of helping your child kind of know it's perfectly fine. And then the teachers, as well as the report, will give you guidance on the ways that you can support your child. So if you help them with that at home, and the teachers are going to be doing a lot to kind of support your child also in enriching or providing interventions. And the schools are working hard on that. So just helping your child with explaining, encouraging, celebrating, and following the teacher's guidance will really help your child do well. We know you have a lot more questions, and we know there's a lot more information that you may want. So we have an iReady Parent Night that is being hosted next Thursday, November 18th, between 5 and 6 p.m. there are flyers that will be going out. It's been going out through social media. It'll be going out through Peach Jar and also through School Messenger. And so if you please share this with people who you may know and join us that night, because this event is presented by the iReady people, and they're the experts on the information, and they can provide you a lot more information on the diagnostic as well as how to support your child. And I thank you for being here and for supporting your children and supporting all of us. And I am going to post it back to Ms. Taylor Stewart.
Thank you, Vanitha, for sharing that very important information about iReady. We do have a few questions for you. So let's get started. One parent is asking what specific supports will be available to students that need supports. And then she also said, can you please share the difference between supports and enrichment?
So, and I'm going to reach out to my team from research who are also out here. So when you say supports, it could be, let's say I'm struggling with maybe high vocabulary words in reading. I might be a third grader struggling with that. And I may need support with phonological awareness. So as a teacher, the teacher would know, and some of the resources that we have in our school could say, it's like, okay, maybe I need to kind of focus on phonological awareness, maybe flashcards, maybe some kinds of resources that would support the student knowing what they need. And as a parent, you may receive some information from the teachers saying it's like practice these with your students. If it's about numbers and operations, maybe looking at math facts if the students are struggling with that. The teacher may say it's like, okay, we're going to be working on this, and maybe at home you want to practice your math facts. So the teachers will be working and providing lessons to the students in the classroom, and we're working closely with our different departments, with our schools, with our curriculum offices to kind of make sure that the teachers have the resources and the teachers are going to be ready to kind of support, send information home for the parents to support. And in the report, it actually tells you the areas that even parents, the parent report, the family report, also gives strategies on how the parents can support their children. If the student is working at a higher grade level than they are or excelling in certain areas, there are also resources that come in the report and that the teachers can provide to provide the enrichment to the students. So that's the beauty of the iReady diagnostic. It allows us to kind of provide the supports and the scaffolds, as well as resources to kind of enrich and help the students move on.
Neith, if you don't mind, I'll add a little bit to that. There are also some other specific interventions that happen. So looking at iReady results and other pieces of information that teachers gather and their work with students over the course of the first few months of the year, we have some of the sites have some intervention tutoring that's happening both after school, lunch, as well as Saturday opportunities that the school or the teachers will be reaching out to parents of selected students for. So for students who need some additional support beyond what's being offered in the classroom, there is some opportunities for intervention that are happening. The other thing that the reports tell teachers is for students who are accelerating, it doesn't just tell you, in fact, it doesn't tell you what your student can't do. What the report tells you is what the student can do and what's the very next thing that your student should learn to accelerate forward. So if you have a student, let's say, who's in seventh grade math and who's getting ready for algebra, the report would be able to tell teachers what the skill set that the student has that is seventh grade math appropriate, and what are the very next things the student should be learning to get to that next level, right? So it's not just a guess for the teacher on what standards they should present next, but it's very specific on here's the things that the student is really ready for so that the teachers hit them right where their needs are. And the other thing we say a lot about iReady is it's really not about remediation, it's about acceleration. So the other thing it gives teachers support with is what are those just-in-time scaffolds that I can use to help students have access to content. So if I get my student report and it says that my student is really strong in reading comprehension, but let's say is struggling with a little bit of technical vocabulary, I know as a teacher, when we're getting ready to read a science article, or we're getting ready to read something that's very technical in an elective course, that my student can comprehend it, but what I might need to support them with is understanding those unique, new, high-level vocabulary words that show up in the passage. And then if I get my student that help, they'll instantly have the comprehension because that's the skill they already have. So it really helps teachers dial in on what the specific intervention or support they need is, or what the specific next step of acceleration is for in-class work. And then, like I said previously, there is some outside of class tutoring and interventions that we're providing. It'll be a little bit different school to school, but it's one of the things that the schools and the teachers will reach out with.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown, for that clarifying response. We do have a few questions. I think you touched on this, Benita, but if you can just reiterate, parents are really eager to support their students. When will they receive results, and will the results be available in other languages, different languages other than English?
So for this time, the reports for the individual reports for reading and math will be available on November 15th in Parent View. And we are hoping that it'll be available it's available in English, and I'm going to reach out to Kevin Shillito, who can kind of help us with that, and about the other languages at this time.
Okay, thank you.
That's a great question, Vinitha. I'm going to actually have to reach out to the iReady team and find out what support for other languages the reports will be available in. I know that they do provide quite a few of their resources in multiple languages, and they've been very supportive in translating things as needed for us as well. So I will have to follow up on that one. I do apologize. I don't have a better answer at this time.
That's okay, Kevin. We always look forward to following up with our parents after our Parent University workshop, so that's fine. Thank you. A couple more questions. People are really interested in iReady, Benita. Again, you might have touched on this. What grade level does iReady start? Is it TK or K? And the last question we have, will students be required to read extra minutes throughout the week, or is it just for the iReady assessment? Is it in general throughout the year, or just reading extra for the iReady assessment?
So I'm going to respond to the first question, which is it TKK? It's actually a K-12 diagnostic, but for the first round, for the first window, kindergarten was not included because it was just when the students were coming in, and we wanted to make sure that they were getting comfortable into school, and it was right at the beginning of the year. But kindergarten through 12th grade will be participating in the second and the third window. We are not assessing the TK students at this time. So it is a K-12 diagnostic. And your second question was about, can you just repeat that again?
They're interested in knowing, will they be required to read extra minutes throughout the week, or just in preparation for the iReady test?
So there is no real preparation for the iReady test. It's basically the students go in, and again, like it's an individualized assessment. So there's no preparation that really you could do. But if this teacher feels, it's like reading is always great for students throughout the year. So whether you're reading 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it's kind of helping the students move forward with their reading comprehension, with all of their foundational skills. So again, depending on the grade level and the teacher, there may be there may be reading resources that they may want the students to read, and maybe some comprehension. And again, it might be individualized based on the students' needs. But it's not that there is any preparation they would need to do for the iReady assessment itself. So again, yeah.
Thank you so much. We have more questions. I'm sure there are more to come, but parents and guardians and community members, please include your questions. Continue to add them to the Google form, and we will respond directly to you after our Parent University workshop, because we want to make sure we save enough time for our special guest. She's not really a guest, but we're excited to hear from her, and that's our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Jill Baker. Dr. Baker, welcome, and thank you for being here with us tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I am so glad to participate in this inaugural session of Parent Connection. And I feel so fortunate to work with such a great team and to integrate Parent Connection into Parent University, which is something that I know our parents appreciate, all of the resources and the way that Parent University supports parents across the district. And so you're here for the inaugural session of Parent Connection, whether you're watching live or you watch this after this evening session. Just want to give you a little background. So last year, my first year as superintendent, we took our time talking to parents and interacting with several different committees and asking parents what they wanted in terms of interaction with the superintendent. One of the things that they said is that they would like to have just-in-time information. And you heard Dr. Chandrasekhar and other staff from the research office provide that tonight on the iReady assessment. They wanted an opportunity to hear directly from the superintendent about things that are going on across the district. And they wanted the opportunity to talk about engagement and the parent perspective. And so our team has pulled together Parent Connection in those three areas. Some of you might have participated in the Parent Forum, which was Mr. Steinhauser's opportunity to interact with parents. And so if you participated in Parent Forum and you're here thinking, where did Parent Forum go? You're in the right place, because Parent Connection is the new version of superintendent interacting with parents. And I'm glad to be here. So tonight we're trying something new. And we're thinking about the opportunity and the things that we learned during the pandemic about the blending of virtual opportunities and in-person opportunities, because really important to Parent Connection is the opportunity to connect with parents across the district, and not to necessarily be, to have a room regulate the size of the group. And so I know earlier tonight, I heard that we might already have 100 or so people on tonight's Parent Connection. That's great to see all of you, especially during this time when we may not be able to have all of you in one room, but you're able to be here virtually. So the first couple Parent Connections will be held virtually. And then we hope to make it out into the community and try an in-person opportunity of Parent Connection. And we'll continue to live stream so that we always have that broader connection for those of you out in the community. And we have an opportunity for you to watch after the session. So I'm going to have the slides come up and tell you a little bit more about what I want to share with you tonight. So there it is, Parent Connection. I want to tell you just about the purpose so that we're setting the stage for this year together for those of you who will come and join Parent Connection. So when I think about the purpose of the Superintendent Parent Connection, I think about three things. I think about an opportunity for human connection between parents and caregivers, along with myself and other district staff. Nothing I do happens without teamwork. And so in addition to me tonight, you're going to meet Mr. Grayson, and behind the scenes, there's a great team working on Parent Connection. You can forward to the next slide. The second purpose for me as Superintendent Parent Connection is to provide district-wide information for parents and caregivers to enhance your access and connection to schools and the district. So a number of times tonight, you'll hear me refer to things that you can talk to your school about, questions that you might be able to ask, so that you're not just hearing about something that goes on across the district, but you're actually prompted then to interact with your school staff on the things that we're talking about this evening. And the last thing is engaging in two-way communication with parents and caregivers to inform our continuous improvement efforts. I think of every opportunity, every meeting, every conversation, every interaction that I have formally in spaces like this, and also informally, being out in the community, walking at schools, being at community events, as an opportunity for us to continuously improve. And so tonight, the Parent University team, they're going to ask you what you liked about this evening, if you have suggestions and ideas, and that's what we'll use in terms of our continuous improvement efforts. May I ask, go to the next slide, please. I'll pause there to give the media team an opportunity to move forward. Thank you. Okay, one slide back will take us to a set of assumptions that it felt important for me to share, especially on this inaugural night of Parent Connection. So I think about these assumptions when I think about parents in the community. And I'll pause for a moment and say, I was a parent in the community. I raised my son, my husband and I raised our son in the Long Beach community, so fortunate to attend schools in elementary, middle, and high school, and to graduate from Long Beach Unified School District a few years ago, and now to be in college. And so one of the things that I often think about is my experience as parent, and how using the lens of parent as I think about the work of our entire district. But there are some assumptions I make about those of you who come in as parents or caregivers, that you are your child's first teacher. And in many cases, you spend more time with them over time than we do in the schools. In some cases, you don't, and our teachers and our staff spend more time with them, but you as parents and caregivers are your children's first teachers. And that's important for us to always remember. That each parent and caregiver wants their child to have a school experience characterized by high expectations and care. And it's important, I see those together, the high expectations for your children to reach their potential, but also in an environment that recognizes the care that they need and that they are whole children or whole young people, that they bring their whole selves into the school setting. That students' lives are enhanced when parents or caregivers or both are involved, and that a homeschool connection fostered by teachers and school staff positively contributes to student success. We can't do it without you. And so this is a really great opportunity for us to think about some of the work of the district and to connect you to some of that work, that you can ask more questions and make sure that your students are accessing the supports and programs that they need back at the school site. And so tonight is a kickoff of talking about those three things that we'll focus on during the year. The Learning Acceleration and Support Plan, and I'll tell you a little bit about what that is in just a moment. Accessing resources in schools and across LBUSD, and you heard a little bit from Dr. Chandrasekhar about the iReady assessment and other tools that you'll be accessing related to those assessments, that diagnostic assessment. And then we want to keep a conversation going throughout this year, Mr. Grayson and myself, around communication and community engagement. And so shortly you'll meet Mr. Grayson, and he's going to ask you some questions and share about the work of the communication office. So I'm going to kick it off, spending a few minutes around the Learning Acceleration and Support Plan. So I'll lay a foundation, then I'm going to show you where to find this plan if you're clicking around and want to get right on the district website and have access to this plan. So the district's Learning Acceleration and Support Plan is a plan that creates a bridge from the past into the future. So I just want you to imagine a bridge from the past into the future and have an image of that in your mind. It's a plan that's not required of us, but that we put together thinking about all the different resources that we're receiving to meet the needs of students and the aspirations that we have for our school district for the future. And so this plan creates a bridge. It creates a bridge from what students and families experienced prior to COVID and helps us to think about what we've learned in this time and how we can invest in the future. And so some really important things for you to know tonight and just to be thinking about is this plan helps us to think about what we call the core classroom experience for all students. Education is different than it even was 18 months ago. The needs of our students are different. The talents of our teachers are different. And so this plan funds many learning activities for teachers and for district staff to think about how we rebuild our skills and enhance our skills to have a different classroom experience across the district. An example of that is this past summer, every single one of our teachers and administrators across the district participated in a learning institute. It's the first of its kind in probably at least 2 decades, where 3,500 teachers and several hundred administrators were learning and thinking about what we want our classrooms to be for our students in the future. So a bridge from the past into the future of the classroom experience. It's also a really important plan to think about what's happening right now for families and for our students, both at the academic level. And you heard Benita talked about how we're a diagnostic assessment that's helping our teachers to know what our students need and accelerating their learning. It's also important for us to be thinking about the intervention and supports for student well-being. We have students that are expressing mental health challenges, dealing with depression and other things as they've come out of the pandemic and come back to school. And so this plan is a future-facing plan, but it's also a right-now plan. The plan describes investments in acceleration, intervention, and support, and many of the resources that we've brought in to pay attention to students' well-being and to support students' well-being. Lastly, it's thinking about, and that's okay, you can leave this slide. Lastly, it's also helping us to think about the infrastructure or the environment of our schools. And this plan invests in different aspects of a classroom environment. For example, the furniture that students use in their classroom. We have furniture in many cases that is more than 50 or 60 years old. A lot has changed in education. We want our students to have flexible seating where they can move their desks and their chairs around, to converse in groups. We want the teacher to be able to change the environment depending on the kinds of activities that they're doing in their classrooms. And this plan funds those changes for the future. And so be thinking about that bridge from the past to the future as I talk about this plan. How do you access the plan? So a super simple slide, and let's see, a list. Someone took you to our webpage. I'm here again, just with 2 screenshots for you to look at. On the left, you'll see that arrow. This is our opening webpage, our main webpage. If you click on Learning Acceleration Plan, the icon there, you'll get to the image that you see on the right. You can download the entire Learning Acceleration and Support Plan there. And then below where you download the entire plan, you can also see financial information. So some of you like to look at, well, how is the district spending money? And you'll be able to find that information on a tracker and a couple of different financial documents that are there. So what is this plan? Our district produced a 1.5-minute video that we're going to take a moment to share so you get a little overview. And then I'll come back in and walk you through a few important aspects of the plan as we go about this evening. So I'll pause there.
I'm Anish. Groups and national partners, the Long Beach Unified School District has developed the Learning Acceleration Support Plan. The past year's experiences, along with community feedback and engagement, has led to a focus on 4 pillars for this plan: academic acceleration and support, social emotional well-being, engagement and voice, and infrastructure and capital for the future. Exploring the document, you will find a message from Superintendent Dr. Jill Baker, followed by a plan overview page that will guide you to any components that you want more information on. Each pillar of the Learning Acceleration and Support Plan have dedicated color-coded sections that break down as such: an overview and description of the pillar's goals, and the programs and supports that build each pillar. Each pillar's section of programs and supports will give you the title, goal, office lead, funding source, and cost estimate of each program or support. At the end of the document, you will find a glossary of terms that will help explain any acronyms you come across. As one of the leading school districts in urban education, the LBUSD community strives to support the personal and intellectual success of every student every day. The Learning Acceleration and Support Plan is our commitment to excellence and equity for all of our students. Visit lbschools.net/LASP.
Do you feel like he's been?
Thank you. So that's a great just overview, and you're welcome. That's also on the webpage. So if you want to listen to that 1.5-minute video again, it's there for you to review. A couple things that I wanted to add for those of you watching. are that this plan was developed from a research base. I served on a national task force that was looking at how districts across the country were thinking about the investments in their students. And so I had an opportunity both to learn and to contribute to the conversation that districts were having, which helped to shape our district thinking about our learning acceleration and support plan. This was also an opportunity for us to really think about our student data. And in the front of the learning acceleration and support plan, you'll actually find data that reflects pre-pandemic data and some of the ways that we're going to continue to look at our students' growth in the days ahead. And lastly, this plan incorporates community voice. And I want to thank those of you who are watching tonight that participated in the budget engagement process in the spring, that participated in our LCAP development processes, that served on advisory committees and task forces and committees like DLAC and ELAC and CAC. As all of that information was collected and brought through different departments into the central office, we were able to use all of that data to inform this plan. I love that the video acknowledges the aspect of excellence and equity in this plan. So I want you to know a few things about excellence and equity and the programs and services that exist across LBUSD through this plan. So when I think about excellence, I think about the high expectations and high quality education that all of our students should receive. I also think about students growing at least a year's growth in their coursework and being challenged for those students who are above grade level to meet higher standards based on where they come into their class. And actually, that's a way that iReady data is supportive of teachers. For students who are accelerating beyond their grade level, they can actually use the iReady data to challenge students beyond what might be their grade level standards. The second part of this plan and the programs and services that exist relate to equity. And that is an intensified focus on what our student data is showing us that our students need. And so together, that high expectations of excellence and a quality education for every student, along with an intensified focus on equity, is what this plan represents. So what can you find in this plan? So I broke it down into levels because I know many of you either have students at multiple levels or you are a parent of a single student at a level and just thought you might want to have a glimpse at what goes on in the levels. These are just little tiny glimpses, and I really encourage you to look at the whole plan. And we will feature more in depth some of these activities in a future parent connection meeting. But at the elementary level, we have made a big investment in literacy acceleration and support. That is in the form of additional teachers, additional intervention materials, and an approach that is around acceleration, meaning intensified instruction and targeted time between an adult and students to support that acceleration. Acceleration means that if a student is below grade level, we want them to accelerate and grow greater than 1 year's growth in a single year. That requires an intervention. It also requires an approach that is monitoring that achievement and ensuring that progress is being made on a regular basis. So additional teachers providing that literacy acceleration and support across elementary grade levels. That's in K-8 schools as well as elementary schools, but at the K-5 level. The programs and services include literacy and math tutoring. And you heard, I believe Mr. Brown acknowledged that the iReady data is helping teachers to determine who needs what kind of tutoring. So there are different kinds of tutoring across the district this year that include Long Beach Unified teachers, after school tutoring. There are Saturday school sessions with Long Beach Unified teachers. And we vetted a number of agencies that have, we looked at the research, we looked at what they were able to provide for us. And we have 5 tutoring companies that schools can access. Some of them provide online tutoring and others in person for students whose data show that they need additional support in the form of tutoring. Also at the elementary level, there's intervention coordination. And so this year we're using a very specific additional person at the elementary level and actually at the middle school level that's looking at the interventions that are being provided, coordinating the data, looking at data on a regular basis to ensure that the students are receiving the right intervention based on their need. At the middle school level, at 6 through 8, literacy and math support. That's coming in the form of, in some cases, students are taking an additional period during the day. Some of it's after school support, and some of it is during the day, during class support, where a teacher goes into a classroom and supports students in class. There's also intervention coordination, and then some very specialized intervention courses. For example, for English learners, additional courses that are there to support English learners. At the high school level, 3 things that I just wanted to provide some attention to this evening is a student success initiative. This is focused on our 9th grade students that are transitioning to high school this year, and elevating both English and math tutoring and supports. There's also a leadership course and support for students in a way of leadership. And then there's also a We Rise curriculum that takes students that may have been struggling in some aspect of social emotional well-being and their ability to be productive in a school environment. And there's a course that's being taught to really uplift student leadership and to help students make a successful transition into high school. You may have heard, and we'll talk in one of our upcoming sessions about the wellness or the care centers at our high schools. All of our high schools have a specialized place that either has a psychologist, a counselor, or a social worker that's created a center where students can access immediate support. They can have a brain break in a comfortable and supportive environment, and they can also access community resources through the wellness and the care center. And lastly, high schools also have tutoring during the week, Saturday school, and credit recovery that's going on throughout this year. Across the levels, programs and services include significant teacher professional development. I mentioned the Summer Institute that all of our teachers attended. We've also expanded our family resource centers. We're providing additional social emotional supports with social workers and counselors and additional psychologists. Many of your students participated in expanded summer intervention and enrichment programs, or are participating now in expanded course offerings, in particular at middle and high school. And then lastly, you'll see that I've noted iReady assessment system is a way that we're making an investment in the future. And so lastly, as I think about, before I leave you for this evening and introduce Mr. Grayson to talk about communication and community engagement, really want to connect you to 4 things that you can ask as you're out at your schools interacting with teachers or counselors or your school principals in thinking about what your students need. So you can ask what supports are available to help my student in reading, math, or for their social emotional needs. And you can ask about what happens during the school day or what happens after school. You could also ask about Saturday school. But this plan represents a lot of different supports. Some of them are customized by level and may be specific to an individual school. But you'll want to ask what supports are available, especially if you're concerned about your student or when you look at the iReady data and are wondering what supports exist. Please ask schools about the types of tutoring that your students can access. So it's one thing to talk about it at the district level. We know it's more important that you're interacting with your school community about tutoring. You can ask, is there tutoring that's taught by your school's teachers, or is there an online tutoring that your student can access? But ask the question about tutoring if you're concerned about your students, especially academic needs. And then you can ask about opportunities for enrichment. Our schools have greatly expanded clubs, both during the day. Many meet at lunch, some meet after school. We've continued to have full-scale music programming. There are schools that have arts program and they have language enrichment after school. So ask your school staff what kinds of opportunities for enrichment are available. Also, just want to shout out to our RAP after school programs. They provide enrichment, they provide physical activity, social emotional support, as well as homework help that has aspects of enrichment that go with it as well. And then lastly, we know wellness right now, the social emotional well-being and the wellness of our students is of concern for many of you as parents and caregivers. And we're concerned about many of our students as well. And so ask your school team, how is wellness being supported? You may hear at an elementary school talking about mindfulness and a way that teachers are interacting with students to bring a sense of calm and focus to the day. You may hear at middle school talk about restorative practices and ways that teachers and administrators are helping to bring wellness in through restorative practices. And at the high school, you may hear about the wellness or care center or the way that social emotional learning is being centered. So I hope your takeaway tonight is that there is a district plan. There's a plan that creates a bridge from the past Long Beach Unified to the future, what we aspire to in the future, and also what our students need right now to accelerate their learning and to support what they need. And I hope your takeaway is that there are questions you can ask so that you are connecting your students' needs and potentially your family needs to what supports exist at the school site with the questions that you see here. In future parent connection sessions, we will go more deeply into some of what we'll say are the anchor programs within the Learning Acceleration and Support Plan. Tonight was intended to be an overview and help you to have access and to make that connection to the broad plan that you can also access at your school level. So I'm going to take a breath and take a pause with an opportunity to introduce one of the newest members of our senior staff in Long Beach Unified School District. I'll reflect on last year. Again, my first year as superintendent, had the opportunity to interact with many parents and many in the community, most of it virtually. And one of the things that we heard over and over is that the district should think about the way that it communicates and the way that it engages the community. In honor of that, we engaged a company with expertise around communication to do a communication audit. As part of the audit findings, those audit findings made a high suggestion that we think about how we organize for communication and how we think about the value of communication in our school district. And as part of the recommendations, there was a recommendation to look for a chief of communication that would come to Long Beach Unified School District. And so after a search that include applicants from across the nation, several rounds of interviews, we met Justin Grayson, who you are going to meet tonight, who is now the Chief of Communication and Community Engagement, the first in this position in Long Beach Unified School District. So please help me in welcoming Mr. Justin Grayson.
Thank you so much, Dr. Baker, and thanks for this entire parent connection. I think it's a really great way to really engage the community, and we all know how important it is to really have our parents as our pillar of what we do here in Long Beach Unified. So I'm really honored to be on this Zoom, and looking forward to getting to meet all of you while it's virtual. And we're actually proud to say that at one point, I think we got up to about 300 people on this Zoom. So it's really exciting. Hi, everyone. You can see my face. I was getting made fun of a little bit earlier for my picture here. I like colorful images. So yeah, I'm Justin Grayson. I am the Chief of Communications for Long Beach Unified School District, and super proud to be here in Long Beach. I am new to Long Beach, so it's always fun to kind of learn a new community, get to know the people, get to know the restaurants and the food and the cool places to go. But I put a couple of bullets on here just so you guys can know my background and kind of what led me to this position. You see up at the top, I consider myself a relationship builder, a crisis manager, because that's part of the job, a media producer. I do produce music and TV and broadcast related things, event planner, traveler, and adventurer. I've been to 28 different countries. I love traveling the world and getting to know new cultures and new people. And I just enjoy life as much as I can. And I hope to bring some of that kind of just zeal for life that I have here at Long Beach Unified in the way that we communicate with our communities. let's look at this list here. I'll start at the bottom and kind of go up because that makes more sense. So I did graduate from Florida A&M University. It's HBCU in Tallahassee, Florida. And my first job out of college, I got to actually have one of my dream jobs, which is working as a news producer with two of my my news idols, Ted Koppel and Peter Jennings. I worked at ABC News in Washington, D.C., which was really neat. But I had a moment there where I realized that my impact could be a little bit bigger. My impact on the world, I felt like could be bigger working in education than it was working for World News Tonight, which is ironic. But so I left the media early on and jumped into working in education. So as you can see there, I worked for the School District of Philadelphia, implementing AVID programs and Gear Up programs. I've worked as a communications manager for Fresno Unified School District. More recently, worked for Riverside Unified School District as the director of communications. And then right before coming here to Long Beach, I was working in global public relations with a company that you may have all heard of, Amazon. But all of that led me here to Long Beach, and I'm super excited to be here. Go ahead and switch to the next slide, Chris, if you could. One of the things that for me is super important when it comes to communications is that we have a really unique opportunity to share all of the great things that are happening in the school district with all of our families, our parents, and our communities. We always look at education as a place where you all as parents entrust us to have your children with us for 8 hours of the day. And so it's upon us to really get all the information that's coming out of our school district to you, to tell you all the cool stories and the great things that are happening within our schools, and let you know that your students are safe and well taken care of. When I think about communications, I'm going to read something that I wrote. Establishing an effective communication system between schools, parents, and the community helps school districts like ours achieve our goals of creating higher academic standards and stronger partnerships with those families and the community. So all of it comes full circle. We want to make sure that you are taken care of, that your students are taken care of, and that academic success is at the forefront of everything that we do. So I wanted to just quickly talk about some of our high-level priorities. We've got a very long list of priorities and things that we want to work on over the next few years. But when we look at, I know Dr. Baker mentioned the NSPR audit that kind of gave the district the idea that we needed to hire a chief. The NSPR audit also did a deep dive into Long Beach Unified's communications, the cycles of communication, the pros and the cons and the areas of improvement. And from that audit, we did get some really important bits of information and some areas that we could focus on. It's a very long document. I think it's more than 60 pages. However, we identified a few that we just want to look at right now. In the early part of my tenure here at Long Beach Unified, and we think these are a few areas that we could really lean into right now and get some good results from. First things first, when we look at our communications priorities, we really want to strengthen the value and the usefulness of Long Beach Unified's overall communications. And I know that's a little bit broad, but from an overall communication standpoint, we realize that we've got some work to do. We can do a lot better, and we need to just amplify the voices, not only the voices of our staff, our board, our teachers, but the voices of our children. That's who we really want to hear from, right? I mean, when I'm scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, when there's a cute kid telling me a story, no matter what that story is about, I stop and listen. So we want to make sure that we tell those stories of the great things that our students are doing, the stories of achievement, the stories from our alumni who have gone on to do some great things. We really want the community to know of all the cool things that are happening in the district. Secondly, we believe in two-way communications. That is something that I know I've heard in my 3 months here in Long Beach. I've heard from a lot of our families who said, we want to be able to give our feedback as well. That's kind of what this parent connection is all about. So one of our priorities is to make sure that we open up more channels for two-way communication between the families and the district. We have some lofty goals when it comes to our website. You guys have seen our website. It's very robust. There's a lot of things on it, but we want to make sure that we tighten it up and make it really, really easy for you to find what you're looking for. So we are going to go through a process, excuse me, we're going to go through a process of rebranding our website, kind of redoing it, redesigning it, and making it easier, getting it up to those 2021, 2022 standards, and make it future-proof. We think you'll love it. I don't have a time. Don't put in the chat, when is it going to launch? Because I can't promise you anything just yet. But we're going to work on trying to do it as fast as we can, but making sure that it's as best as it can be before we launch it. And with the website, that kind of falls under the realm of branding. So we're going to look at kind of just our overall branding. When it comes to brand, it's not just a logo. It's how it makes you feel. And so branding is it's not just the logo. It's not our website. It's how we interact with you. It's our customer service. All of those things go together. We want to make sure that we're doing the best that we possibly can. School messaging. What is the information that you're getting from your principals, from your assistant principals? We want to make sure that the information that's coming out from your school is tight as well. And lastly, under this one, we want to make sure that going along with that school communications is how do we manage our emergency communications? We know that in the climate that we live in, every now and then there's a reason why we might need to reach out to you as families, and we want to make sure that the information is getting to you quickly and effectively and in a way that's really easy to understand. Let's jump to number 2. So number 2, we want to ensure that Long Beach Unified is our practices are inclusive and accessible to diverse communities. So what does that mean? We want to ensure that when we reach out to you, and when I say you, I'm speaking to everyone. When we reach out to you, that we are reaching out to you in a way that's that's accessible, and that it makes sense to you. So if your native language is Spanish, we want to make sure that we're still communicating with you in your native language. We understand that there's a lot of languages in Long Beach and in Southern California, but we have looked at the data and we've shown that English, Spanish, and Khmer are 3 languages that we really need to get all of our information, our communications out to. And so we've done a really, really good job. And I give kudos to the communications team here at Long Beach Unified for really working hard to make sure that almost everything that we put out has been translated into those 3 languages. We also have translation and interpretation services that are available for our board meetings and most of our online meetings. We make sure that our board meetings are broadcast and re-recorded and rebroadcast in 3 different languages. We also, when it comes to making sure that we are accessible to diverse communities, that also goes for our communities that are hearing impaired or vision impaired. So we make sure that our website is accessible in all of the ways possible. And lastly, we just want to make sure that all of our students, our families, and our communities are well represented in those outgoing communications. So when you see a flyer or a brochure from us or a video from us, not only are we looking at cultural and racial diversity, but we want to make sure that all of our schools are represented in all of our collateral as well. So we don't want all of our videos to be coming from schools that are all on one side of town. We want you to be able to see all of our students represented through all of our information that we put out. Third, let's talk about how we want to develop and improve our relationships and our partnerships with the local community and our community members, our groups, and our parents, our community leaders. We want to magnify LBUSD's message amongst all of them. And so basically what I'm saying is we need to partner with you. We want to hear from you. We want you to hear from us. It goes back to that 2-way communication. So we're going to look at evaluating our whole system. Right now, you've heard from all the folks that are on this call right now they're a part of LBUSD's team, but I look at them as all part of our community engagement team. That's what we're doing right now. We're trying to engage with you, and we're looking at all the different ways that we possibly can engage with the community. And part of that is just hearing from you. We want to take advice from you on the best possible ways to interact with our community. Not only is it community engagement, but we want to make sure that we have great partnerships with local businesses. We want to make sure that our community leaders are amplifying what we're doing. We have great partnerships with the city, with our local clergy, and we just really want to look at making this a lot bigger than it currently is. So those are the 3 main priorities for communications. The one thing I would love to do in this space is to pose a few questions to the folks that we still have on the call or on the Zoom. Looks like we're around 200 right now. So that's a good sample size of if we can get some questions back from you, that'll give us some really great data. I'm sorry, some answers or some questions from you. Here's a few questions I'd like to pose to the group. And to answer these questions, go to the chat. I believe if you go back to the YouTube and go down to right to the description of where you're watching, you see the button, you see a Google Doc, a Google form. Feel free to put your questions that you may have for me or your answers to my questions inside of that chat. All right, here's a question for you. Here's a few questions. Number one, what are some of the most efficient and effective ways that you already receive communications from Long Beach Unified School District? So what do you like? What do we do well? Is it our school messenger, the phone calls that you get? Do you like text messages? Do you like getting emails? Do you like Peach Jar, all of those flyers that you heard talked about earlier? Do you like those flyers that are now all digital and your kids aren't coming home with a backpack full of papers at the bottom? That was me. Number two, what can we do better when it comes to communicating with you, the parents of Long Beach Unified School District? So what are some areas that we need to improve? And we're open to hearing that. If you want to, lay it on us, feel free to. But we need to know, what can we do better when it comes to communicating with you? Number three, this goes to accessibility. How can we be respectful of your family's culture and language with the way that we communicate with you? How can we be respectful of your family's culture and language when we communicate with you? Number four, when do you prefer to be communicated with? Do you prefer evening meetings? Do you prefer weekends? What about morning coffee meetings? Let us know. I know that all different individuals probably like different times. We really do want to know, and maybe there's another time that you think works. Maybe it's right after school as you come pick up your kids. We would like to know when you'd like to be communicated with. Two more quick questions. Number five, what method of communication should we consider that maybe we haven't even thought of yet? Right? You guys are all, I'm sure there's some TikTok users out there. I'm sure that there's some Snapchat users. We don't use those, but maybe there's some other things that exist elsewhere that you haven't seen Long Beach Unified or any other school district use. I used to work for Amazon, as I said earlier, and there's some crazy technology that Amazon has that may not necessarily work with Long Beach Unified, but I always wonder, why doesn't Walmart use that technology, or why doesn't Nike use that technology? So let us know if you've seen something that just seems really cool that we should consider. And number six, what would help us get more of you involved? So the folks who are on the call right now, we thank you. We're so happy. We love to have parent engagement and community engagement, but there's a lot of folks out there who are not on this call. How do we get more of you, more of your peers, more of your family members or your neighbors? How do we get more folks to be engaged in the work that we're doing here and also engaged in your child's success, right? So in the school meetings or in the district-wide meetings, how do we get more of you to engage with us? So those are my questions for you. We're open to having feedback. I'd love to hear your answers to some of those questions. Go ahead and go down to the bottom. I've always wanted to do this like I was, I don't know if it works on this one. Maybe I'm on the side. However it works, go into the chat. Please fill out the documentation and answer some of those questions or give us some feedback. We're super open to it. I'm very excited to be here in Long Beach once again. And I'm excited to be on this call. I look forward to meeting all of you in person at some point, and I appreciate this whole team and Dr. Baker for putting this together. So that's it for me. But if there's any questions and if Alyssa wants to shout out some of them, feel free. I'm here to answer.
Well, Justin, we have a shout out to you. Thank you, Mr. Grayson. Thank you from LBUSD for helping us improve the parent-teacher-student partnership. So parents are excited.
Awesome.
Definitely.
That's very cool. I'm all about the parent-teacher partnership. The connection between all of those it all comes down to that student achievement. The more that we all know, the studies show that the more involved the parents in the community are, the better the students do. So that's what we're here to do.
And as we're waiting for some more questions related to communications and community engagement, We do have a question, Dr. Baker, who would ever like to answer it, regarding tiered supports. Parents are interested in knowing, can you differentiate between tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 supports?
Sure, I can just give a brief overview of that. So when we think about tiered supports, the simplest way to describe it is that at the bottom, if you imagine a pyramid, the base of the pyramid is what we think about for all of our students. It's that classroom experience where there's differentiation, where the teacher is teaching a direct instruction lesson and having the students practice something. That base is what we call tier 1. It's important to think of that as the excellence of all classrooms that all students receive. It doesn't mean that there aren't different projects and different books being read, but it's the classroom experience. The second tier, called tier 2, is when students show struggle in tier 1. Maybe they're struggling with some aspect of reading, or if they're a young child and not learning their letters or needing more support. We think of adding to the base that second layer of support. So they still participate in all the other things that students do for reading, but they might participate in a small group. Just to use the early childhood example, meeting with the teacher several times a week to learn their letters or sight words. And similar for an older student, they might be struggling in an aspect of content, say a history class, and then they might participate in tutoring or an after-school experience with a group of students who need additional support. And then if you just imagine that pyramid, the top of the pyramid is when we talk about tier 3 supports. And that's the most intensified support. Sometimes that takes place individually. So a teacher may be working with a student individually. They may be in one-on-one tutoring or in a very small group setting. And that pyramid exists for both academic needs as well as social emotional needs. So a student, it may be expressing some behavior issues in class. The teacher in class tries to interact with the student and help them to redirect their behavior. However, they might need a small group at the tier 2 level. They might be meeting with a counselor to learn some new skills that they can use back in their classroom. Or in some cases, they may be provided one-on-one, either in school counseling or outside of school counseling to support them at the tier 3 level. So imagine that pyramid, the base is tier 1. And then as the needs of a student increases, if they show needs either academically or social in their social emotional well-being, as the need increases, the intensity of the support increases. It also should be that there's an increased monitoring of that student. I hope that answers the question, Melissa.
Thank you, Dr. Baker. Very, very thorough. We have a question about the high school wellness centers. Who would like to share a little bit about that? A little bit more about it? How did they come about? How can we access it?
I can answer that as well. So our high school wellness centers actually go back before we had district-wide care or wellness centers. Pauley High School and Jordan High School taught us what it was like to have a wellness center on their campus. They were different. So Jordan was staffed by a school psychologist and had a great connection to community resources and built a place where students could come and sit and converse, and in some cases get very strategic social emotional support. At Pauley, they have a care center, and the care center was actually a teacher's classroom, Mr. Gray, who was teaching and teaching students to be peer mentors in this care center, and that they still are peer mentors there, and also teaching psychology in the care center. And so it is more of a classroom space, but a place where students come to talk about things that they're experiencing and to converse with peer counselors as well as adult staff. We took those ideas and interacted with students about what they were needing, interacted with our students from Californians for Justice, and started to build this model of what we wanted across our campuses. Made a financial investment in the wellness centers, and then each school selected staff to staff the wellness center. and have customized those wellness centers with input of students. They're naming them based on what students want them to be named. I've heard there's a Dragon's Den at one school, a Bruin Center at another. And so students are helping to customize, but it's a place where there are resources and there are adults there to help students. I recently visited a number of those wellness centers, and one of the things I love seeing, we just stepped back as students came into the spaces to ask for help. And in one case, a student came in and got the social worker that is in charge of the wellness center and said, I need you to come with me. I have a friend on campus who's having a hard time. And so that additional staff not only keeps the wellness center going, but they're also available to students on campus. So they're actually a place and they're a set of resources on campus.
Valuable resources, I'll add. Thank you so much, Dr. Baker. So a couple more comments. Now I'm going to shift over back to Justin and communications. One parent is sharing that she's really enjoying the text messages and the emails. Another parent is saying that she loves Peachtree. I guess that's nice to not have all those flyers in the backpacks, right?
Peach jar.
Peach jar. Why do I want to say Peachtree? I'm thinking of Atlanta, right?
Yes.
And also, parents are saying they would love to have a coffee chat with some of the LBUSD leaders. So we have to make that happen. So thank you so much, parents. Please keep your questions coming. We will gather them and share them with both Dr. Baker and Mr. Grayson. Also, the research office, wherever your questions should be shared with, we'll make sure we share them with them and get the answers back to you. We want to say thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is just the first of many parent connections to come. Our next parent connection is December 7th, Tuesday, same time, same station, 6 o'clock. Amy Love from our Office of Student Support Services will be here to share a moment of wellness, some tips and strategies to support your students during the holiday season. Of course, we'll have Dr. Baker back with us and maybe Mr. Grayson and some others. So we just want to say thank you for sharing some of your evening with us. And we look forward to seeing you in the near future. Thank you so much. Take care and be well.